So my name is Michael Jackson. I am the co-founder of React Training and the co-author of React Router.
So you just released the newest version of React Router v4. What has that been like?
Yeah, it was kind of a crazy process. So we were rushing to get it out for the conference. And at the time that we shipped it, we'd been working on it for like a year. So it was like, the matter of the last couple of days just before this big conference after working on it for a year. We finally just stopped finding excuses to not ship it and just shipped it. I mean, sometimes when you're working on something for that long, it's really easy to just find one more reason to just delay it one more day. But that's literally how I told Ryan. I said, we just need to stop finding excuses to not ship it and ship it. And then anything that we need after that can come in a dot release, minor patch release, whatever. So,
what are some of the most exciting things about React Router v4?
So React Router v4 takes a completely different approach than we were taking in previous versions, which I think is due to a lot, just the fact that we learned how to do things a lot better than we were doing before. So in React Router 2 and 3, the idea was you had your whole route configuration in one spot. So you can think about like your Express app or your Rails app. You usually have like, a routes.rb file in your Rails app, and that's where you kind of define all of your routes. And that's fine, and it works pretty well actually for like server rendered apps. And so we kind of took that same approach on the client. You would define all of your routes in one spot, and then our router would just sort of take over from there and render your entire site. React Router v4 splits things up in a big way and just kind of makes everything more modular. So these routes are not all defined in one spot. You can literally render a route anywhere you want. So a route is just like any other React component. You can render it, and so nesting follows very, very naturally that way. We don't ever have to give you an API for nesting routes. Things like code splitting are a lot easier, If you're already code splitting with React, code splitting with React Router is identical because now we're just components. There's no like big magical config object up at the root of the tree. Hot reloading is a lot easier. It hot reloads just like the rest of your components. So I think the big change was we're going to make this a lot more component-based. We're going to split everything out so it's not such like a monolith at the root of your app. And we've seen some really, really positive feedback so far. Also, this is a big also, first-class React Native support. Which was kind of a big goal for us.
I was going to ask you about that. People are very, very excited about using only one router and not. Is it React Navigation right now that people are using for React Native?
Yeah. So there was like I think it was called Navigation Experimental, which kind of morphed into React Navigation. There were a few different things that people are using on native. We also hear about other solutions that people are using on native. I was talking to the Airbnb people. They've basically anytime you're working on native, you've got a lot of like custom code. If you've done any like iOS development, you know that you start in like a root controller, and then from there you just the sky's the limit. You just do it however you want. And so there is a React Navigation library for native. There are also a lot of people doing custom things. What we wanted to do was. It's kind of like Tom was talking about actually earlier this morning in his keynote. He's like, last year we got a lot of feedback that, the conference was about React Native, and he's like, we don't want to have a React Native community and a React community. We want to just have one community, and a lot of that depends on being able to write code that runs in both spots. And so that was a huge goal for the router. I remember just like a year ago, some of the people from the React Native community were trying to use Router 2 on React Native, and just seeing some of the roadblocks that they ran into. Anyway, that was kind of in the front of my mind as we were working on React Router v4. I wanted to make that a lot easier.
Other exciting projects that you're seeing in the React community?
Yeah, I think so actually. So some of the stuff that I think is most exciting right now, obviously React Native. it's no secret, but I'm really inspired to see the people who are kind of pushing the boundaries, and it's inspiring too to see Facebook, how they're handling React Native. I liked Jing's talk this morning where she was talking about how, they were actually providing support for other companies. That's Facebook, basically, who's investing in other companies succeeding with React Native. I think that's a really, really smart play. I think in general too, there are a lot of interesting. There are a lot of interesting, like Create React App, for example. I think has brought a lot of kind of continuity. I think they're announcing support also for React Native with Create React App. I think the more we can just sort of come together and use the same set of tools for various applications, I think it's kind of what React is all about, right? It's not write once, run anywhere, but it is definitely learn once. We only want to have to learn the API once, and then be able to write code that runs on lots of different platforms with it. So that's the stuff that I'm really excited about.
What excites you about React Fiber?
Yeah, so React Fiber is interesting, right? I view it as kind of an evolution of, so you're adding one more concern to core React, right? So React is primarily concerned with what UI do we render, and it was always synchronous. And I always kind of thought well, maybe that's all they care about. And maybe everything that needs to happen sort of asynchronously, maybe that's all just sort of up to the user, right? Going and fetching some data or making network requests. But I feel like now that they've sort of nailed that layer of, how do we make good UI? I feel like adding another concern on top of that, which is, okay, how do we make good UI, but also allow for asynchronous things to happen? I feel like it's the right time to add that concern into the core of React, because once you kind of nail the first part, then you can add in that other concern. I thought Sebastian's talk this morning was actually very interesting. We were talking about the key press, the message coming in, lots of things, lots of those really, really subtle. I mean, they're working on really, really fine-grained user interactions. When you talk about scheduling priority, putting things like animations, key presses, basically anything the user is doing, any sort of fluid motion, prioritizing that more highly than anything else. And I think that's really interesting. It's a monumental effort. They have actually re-implemented, major parts of the JavaScript run loop, from what I understand. I haven't looked at the code, but from what I understand, if you want to be in charge of when things happen exactly, you're not letting JavaScript schedule that anymore. You actually are scheduling it. So let's run this code. Oh, the user just pressed a key. Well, let's run the code that's responsible for that before we run this code that's responsible for getting back from some network fetch. So, I mean, it's a monumental effort. I can't even imagine sort of digging down to that level and re-implementing things at that level. Those are all things that most of us just sort of take for granted.
Having spent a lot of time with RxJS recently, it sort of makes me wonder, whoa, what?
Oh, totally. Totally, yeah.
What interesting things are going to happen there?
Yeah. So RxJS is, from what I understand, the whole kind of observable paradigm is you shouldn't really ever have to care exactly when stuff happens, right? All you know is that there's this stream, and that as soon as something happens, you're going to get notified, and that then you can go update the page or whatever. But yeah, they're very much concerned with kind of the scheduling too. In fact, I hadn't really thought about this before, but they might actually be in a good position to sort of try something similar there with the observables, right? Because if I have a particular observable for user type inputs versus an observable for network inputs, I might prioritize one higher than another, It might be kind of interesting to have observables with higher priority than other observables.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're doing that yet, but it might be interesting to experiment with.
Oh, black box. Opening up Pandora's box with that.
Oh yeah, really? Was it?
I think so.
Well, how did it go when you were using the observable stuff?
It went over well.
I mean, you've got direct access to Ben and some of the VIPs, right? So they can help you out, right?
Yeah, I spent about 12 hours yesterday doing RxJS, so I can definitely say I know enough now.
You know enough after 12 hours, right on.
Well, it was 4 hours with Ben and 4 hours with Jay.
Yeah.
So-
Got it.
Yeah.
What were you
So
building?
We'll see. We're building this, so we're using, it's Angular 4.
Whoa. Angular 4?
Yeah.
That's a
Angular
thing?
2, but Semver, so Angular 4.
Oh, okay.
Like, Angular router basically is version 3, so
Okay.
they're trying to like catch up
Oh, okay.
and sync each other.
Got it.
Anyways, Angular 4. So we're building an app where text input, you can type something in and it'll give you a set of puns. And it'll do like a lookup and then give you a set of puns. And then we are refactoring it to use a voice recognition. So you can say banana
Sweet.
and it'll give you puns.
Sweet.
And then the third one is using Google's new facial recognition API,
Okay.
image recognition API.
Okay, yeah.
And you can hold up a picture of a banana, or sorry, an actual banana, and it'll give you a set of banana
And then
puns.
it'll interpret that that's what you
Yeah.
mean, and then cool.
So the whole idea of like wrapping observables and then being able to compose them really well together, or like merge them all down to one, and yeah, it's been fun.
Did you get your flat map latest on?
We were using switch map and map mostly.
Got it.
So yeah, but
Got it.
okay.
For what it's worth, that stuff all drives me bonkers too.
Yeah, it's fun though.
Well, I just
It hurt for the first half hour.
yeah. I don't know. I guess I've always thought about things as more like explicit,
Yeah.
as opposed to things happening.
Yeah.
It's like me making things happen.
Yeah. It's
So I think it might be like a right brain, left brain thing.
see how it goes.
Thinking about code differently,
Yeah.
Well, good luck.
How do we find you on the internet?
So I have sought after the M Jackson username on pretty much any platform I care about. So I'm github.com/mjackson. I'm mjackson on npm. I'm M Jackson on Twitter. I'm M Jackson on SoundCloud.
Okay.
If you wanted to hear me
Okay.
sing, because we
Yeah.
were talking about that.
We're gonna have you sing, but
No, not here. But you can check out my SoundCloud if you want to hear me sing. I'm hoping to actually get some more stuff up on my SoundCloud. I only have like one little thing up there right now, but like I really want it to be awesome because I'm a musician.
Yeah.
I don't know if you knew this about me, but like I'm actually, it's like I know it's weird. I'm Michael Jackson, but I also actually do sing and write music. So I need to get some more of that stuff up on my SoundCloud account. Year 2017 is I'm posting more to SoundCloud than I'm gonna post to my GitHub. That's my
Right,
goal. That's my goal.
right.
I think that'd be good.
Did you know Jay's a musician too?
No.
Yeah.
What does he do?
He went to music school.
For real?
Yeah, he went to music school.
So many
and then-
programmers did.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really amazing. And then, and then he got started into
Sure.
programming. But
Yeah.
you should.
So
talk to
many
him about
people
that.
who do code. There's something related, right?
Yeah.
About the creative process and making music and making code.
Well, thank you so much.
Well, hey, yeah, it was a
Yeah.
pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks
Hey there. Are you into reactive programming using JavaScript? Do you have to deal with asynchrony in your web app? Then join this instructor Ben Lesh to learn all of the ins and outs of RxJS in his hands-on workshop. Available online and in person, go to rxworkshop.com for more details and to book your spot today.